Hello and welcome to A VO's Journey podcast. My name is Anthony Pica. This show is all about helping the new and upcoming voiceover artists grow their business and sidestep all the crazy things that I seem to step on. Hey, I wanted to dive back into another podcast. I know this is like crazy. It's Monday, February 8th. We just did a podcast on Saturday. Again, when I say we, I mean I. I just did a podcast on Saturday. But you know what? I wanted to come back. I've got some more stuff to say. And you know me, I'm always trying to see if I can get myself back into doing podcasts more regularly. And I feel a need to talk to you today about fear and how, don't let fear stop you from growing your voiceover business. Don't let it. We could be fearful about so many things, You'd be fearful about, am I doing my voiceovers right? Am I, editing right? Am I, sending out enough emails? Am I making my gigs right on Fiverr? Am I, making my website right? Am I mixing my stuff right? Are my videos right? Like we could be, it's easy to be afraid of everything we are doing. And, it can cause a lot of slowing down and actually halting when it comes to the growth of our business and sometimes sabotaging our business. So let's go ahead and dive into this topic and see if we can get you moving forward. All right, let's do it.
This is VO's Journey. With your host, the incomparable Anthony Pica.
All right, so it is always good to be here. This is episode 198. We are so close. We're going to have a big giveaway for episode 200. So make sure you keep listening because we might even have some clues in the next episode and episode 199 of, what you might have to do or what you might have to participate in order for the big giveaway. And then what will the giveaway be? Last time we gave away a microphone. I think we gave away a CAD E100S for episode 100. So this is episode 200, right? So who knows what we'll give away this one. So you got to make sure you're paying attention for that as well. Let's go ahead and by the way, as always, thank you all so much for being a part of a VO's journey, listening to my adventure on this VO train. And it is a joy, a blessing to be a small part of your journey. So I just want to really say thank you from the bottom of my heart and from my family's heart. Thank you all so much. It means the world to me. And your feedback, your people email me and people have such wonderful and kind things to say. And it really makes a world of a difference. So thank you all so much. So let's dive into the topic today. And I think it's a really important thing for us to talk about. And that is fear. Fear plays a massive part. And it did for me when I first started out. And it really, now, I will say that, yes, it stifled my growth. It stifled my growth a lot. On the other hand, I will say in all fairness, fear comes from, if you think about it, fear comes from lack of knowledge, right? Lack of understanding something, lack of being familiar with something. When we are not familiar with something, we don't understand something, we don't have experience with something, we fear it. And when we're starting something out, especially new, and especially if you have never done voiceover before, like that wasn't your, you didn't train in that, you didn't go to a studio and work for years, you weren't an audio engineer, you didn't do any of this stuff, you weren't in radio, and just because you were in radio doesn't mean that you're not worried, because this is different. There are very many, of course there are tons of similarities, but we know that being in radio and doing voiceover are completely different as well. So it is new, it is different. You don't have a lot of experience. Okay? You don't understand everything. And yes, that means you're going to be afraid. The challenge with being afraid and what we have to do to overcome that fear, all right, we're going to talk about that. But the big thing first off is please give yourself a break. Give yourself a break. I know that's easier said than done. I know our biggest critics are ourselves, but you've got to give yourself a break. You got to step back and be like, okay, I'm doing everything I can right now. I might not get it, but I will. I'll keep listening to Anthony. There you go. You keep listening to me, and I'll keep working really hard to, learn more and grow my business, and I will become less fearful and become more confident. So first off, you just got to give yourself some credit. All right. Second thing is that we don't know what we don't know. And again, let me say that again. We don't know what we don't know, and yet we hold ourselves accountable for the things we don't know. You got to stop that shit. And I apologize for the bad language. All right. Maybe I'll edit that out because I know young people listen to this episode. But it's important that we don't blame ourselves for what we don't know. So that leads me to the next part, which is, if we can all agree upon the fact that there are things that we don't know how to do, and let's talk about some of them. Maybe there are things like, for example, recording, editing, and mastering your audio for ACX. Maybe we are nervous and scared or fearful that we are going to be rejected by ACX. So we're really kind of scared to go out there and just do massive auditions, right? Just blitzing auditions for audiobooks because we're fearful we're going to get, kicked back, or we're afraid that we're not going to do it right. We don't know where to do it. We don't know how to find it. It seems really complicated. All right. Maybe you heard somewhere randomly that you needed to know how to do punch and roll, and you don't even know what punch and roll is, or you've heard about it. You don't know how to do it on your DAW. You've heard that it's really important and you got to be able to use it. So now you're like, I'm afraid to even do this because I don't know how to do that. Like, there's so many things that could happen even with just your recording style and you being able to edit. Maybe you're not even very confident about your DAW yet. Maybe, you use Reaper, or you use Adobe Audition, or you use Studio One, or you use Audacity, or you use GarageBand, Twisted Wave. Who knows what you're using? But maybe, you're like, I can't get this down, or I don't like it, or I can't find any videos. I found some, but the videos just don't really help. I need some one-on-one help, but yet that one-on-one help costs too much for me right now. My business isn't making any money. I want my business to make enough money for me to pay, for something, but yet my business isn't making any money, so I can't do that. I should be able to figure this out on my own. Do you notice a theme here? Not only are we angry at ourselves for the lack of an experience and what we don't know, but we also put ourselves in positions that are impossible for us to rise out of. Think about that. Think about that for a second. Are you putting yourself and your business into a position where it's impossible for you to grow and be successful? So let me tell you what I mean by that. Like, are you saying to yourself, well, I'm not going to invest in this thing I need over here to grow my business until my business makes enough money for me to invest in it. But yet I can't seem to get the money I need to invest in it, which I probably could if I invested in that other thing, but I'm not going to do that because I won't do that until I make enough money. That's one example of you being trapped. You're like specifically trapping yourself. Okay. And don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that these aren't great intentions. And I'm not saying that you haven't found that guy who's like, I paid for, but dag nabbit, I did everything. I paid for everything as I went along, and I didn't spend any extra money, and my business paid for everything. It's been like a dream come true. And you see these people and you're like, wow, I should do that too. That's what I should do. Right. And then when it doesn't turn out to be that easy, you start to fear that something's wrong with you. You're not good enough. Why can't you make it? I'm going to tell you, I spend so much money that first year I was in voiceover, and I only made $800. And when I say made, I mean I only brought in $800, but I spent thousands and thousands of dollars, and I still had a hobo fort. So it wasn't like that's not like I bought the whisper room or anything like that. No, I had my hobo fort, but it costs money. You know what I mean? It cost money. I needed a new microphone because I bought the $40 microphone. That wasn't going to cut it, right? After a while, I needed a new microphone, right? I needed new equipment. I bought a DBX 286. I had issues with my space. I needed more blankets. I needed a stand. I needed different software. I needed this. I needed that. I need, you know what I mean? But if I can only imagine, I have to tell you guys this now that I think about it too. If I looked back and I said to myself, I'm going to only invest in my business what I make out of it. I mean, I don't know if I'd be here with you guys right now, because honestly speaking, I bought my Sennheiser 416, my $1,000 microphone before I had made like a couple $100. I bought that microphone. I mean, I bought the Rode NT1A was the next microphone I bought. Okay, so that was almost $300. Then I bought the Sennheiser, and as awful as it sounds, and don't you dare go do this to your spouse. But I'll be straightforward to you. I bought the microphone without telling my wife, because if I had told her, she would have tore me a new one, and rightly so, because that is a lot of money. But at the time, I was so determined. And I was so down the, I was like, I burnt the ships. I burnt the ships, and I was not turning back. I was like, I burnt the ships at the shore, and there's only one way, and that's forward. And I was all in, but yet that wasn't necessarily something I could explain to my wife, because I had to prove it to her. Now, please, again, I'm not telling you to go out and spend money without talking to your spouse. That is not what I'm doing. And don't you dare say, it's Anthony's fault, honey. He told me to do it. I'm going to start getting emails from angry spouses. That's not what I'm talking about. But I'm just telling you about the fact that I think back, if I didn't buy this microphone, if I didn't get the 286S, if I didn't get the software I needed, like through Adobe Audition, if I didn't get if I didn't pay for the podcast, if I didn't pay for the extra stuff, like the website, if I didn't pay for all these different things, if I didn't pay for software, all the, the hundreds of dollars I spent on plugins, if I didn't pay for all of these things, I guarantee you I would not be here right now. I had to go through these things. I had to pay these things. I had to get these things for my business in order for my business to grow. Was I afraid that I was spending too much money? Absolutely. I was very fearful and scared. But at the same time, I had made it a point that I was not going to let fear stop me anymore. And it had stopped me for most of my life. Now, again, I'm not telling you to rush out and buy a bunch of stuff. I'm just pointing out one situation that I remember going through. Do you know what I mean? Another thing I remember going through as well was imposter syndrome. I was very frightened that, I didn't belong. Who am I to audition for these things? Who am I to go on Voice 123 or voices.com and compete against these people who have been doing voiceover for 20, 30 years? Right? Who am I to, compete against these people who, have worked with Ford and who've worked with, McDonald's and who've worked with all the Disney and all these major companies? Who am I? Do you know what I mean? Who am I to tell someone what to do to grow their business? When I'm in a packing blankets and PVC pipe hut with pillows and some of my old suits that I used 30 years or 20 or 15 years ago that I hung up for extra clothing and pillows and egg crate foam that I bought at Michael's. I'm telling you, this is my life. I mean, I was afraid all the time, but I am so thankful that for some reason in this business was it for me. This was it. This was the first time, like I said, metaphorically, I burnt the boats, and I wasn't going back. So even though I was scared, I pushed forward and I did it anyways, and I wasn't going to be stopped. That's why I told you that when I was starting out, I didn't care where I got work from. I didn't care how much people paid me. I didn't care at that time, because to me it was a validation that I can get work. And I knew in the core of my being, somehow, I don't know if it was divine intervention or what, but I knew in the core of my being that if I could get work, even at a minuscule price, I will get better. And if I can get work at that price, that means I can get work at a higher price. And then I can get work at a higher price. And sooner or later, I will be a premium. Then I told myself, you know what? I'm not going to work with an agent. I'm not going to work with agencies. Again, nothing against them, but I said, I'm not going to do it. The reason why is because I know at the time I was so afraid of competing against these people who were SAG-AFTRA actors, these people who were in the industry, who, you look at them or you go to their studios and they've got like 30 pictures on the wall, like somehow they did a voiceover with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and, they've met the president, and they, you know what I mean? Like, these people are like, who are you people? How have you done so much? And then it's like, who am I? You know what I mean? And you know what I told myself? I said, you know what? I don't think I can beat those people, but you know what I can do? I can start to put out so much stuff that I'll make those people come to me. That's the only way I'm going to do it. I can't go chasing them and go beat them, but you know what? I'll make them come to me. I will make them come to me. And that is another reason why I started this podcast over 2 years ago. In fact, you know what? It's actually, holy crap, I didn't even think about it, you guys. Was it? It was. This is February. It's the third year. I started back in February of 2018, this podcast. And it is February of 2021, which means that this podcast, how bad is that? I mean, 200 episodes, 3 years. That's not bad. I'm like, I want more. But you know what? 3 years, guys. I started this podcast 3 years ago. Like literally 3 years ago. I have to go back and see when was the exact date of the first podcast. But it was about 3 years ago. And like, that's crazy. And I started the podcast because I was like, there's no way I can beat these people. But if I put out enough stuff, if I spend enough time, long enough, hard enough, people will start to come to me. And you know what? It happened. People started coming to me. People started listening to me. People started caring about what I was doing. People started to join in with their voiceover journey with my journey. Businesses started listening to me. I get voiceover work from businesses who follow my YouTube channel or the podcast. All right? Because the stuff we talk about here doesn't just apply to voiceover. It can apply to any business. But listen, fear is real. Fear is real, and it can be debilitating, right? You have to push through it. Give yourself credit. You're doing amazing things. You've got to push yourself, right? Don't stop because you don't know what the outcome is. It's funny, as you know, this show, I open every show, right, with saying, I step on all those things so you don't have to. There is a realness there. I mean, that's true. I got to step on a bunch of crap. I got to screw up time and time again. I look at all the things I do now and all the software I use, all of the voiceovers I do, the people I help. A few years ago, if you would have told me any of this stuff, I would have looked at you like you were nuts. Like even using a simple piece of software that I use to stream all of my videos live throughout the internet on Fridays, for Fiverr Friday, I use multiple pieces of software that loop together, react together, are integrated, and it took me a while to do that, and I was so afraid that all the effort, all the money I spent, I was going to fail. And I would just be a big screw up, and I would finally be true that I was not going to make it. But I am so thankful that I didn't, and I pushed through and I kept going. You can too, no matter where you are right now. Don't let fear stop you from growing your voiceover business. Like I said, Don't go out and buy a Tesla because Anthony told you that was the way to move your voiceover business forward. Although I wouldn't mind one. But I'm saying that, please use your head, but don't let fear stop you. Don't ever let it stop you. You are incredible and you can do it. All right, I'm going to get off my pedestal. Thank you guys so much for listening. As always, it means the world to me. Hey, we're 198. We have 2 more, 199 to 200. Make sure you tune in to next episode as well as 200 because we're going to be giving away some stuff. And I'm actually, you know what? Episode 100, we gave away a couple of things. So, you know what? We're going to be doing that again. You guys are amazing. You deserve it. Just for being a part of this incredible journey that I'm on and that we are on. You deserve it. So thank you from the bottom of my heart again. And also, on a side note, as always, I would love to have you take a look at, even join Fiverr Elite. It is a group that we meet. It's for brand new people, beginners, who are jumping into Fiverr or even voiceover. You don't have to be on Fiverr yet. And also people who have been around for a while and who are looking to grow their businesses. We meet 2 times a week, Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern, Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern. And we get together, we help each other grow our business through analytics. We do reviews. I do voice acting coaching. We do marketing. We help each other specifically with internal questions as well as questions for the group. Learning sessions on everything from learning your DAW to learning the inner workings of a microphone to understanding how to drive traffic, which is what I've been talking about a lot lately. It's just a wonderful group. There'll be a link in the description, or you can always go to avosjourney.com and sign up for Fiverr Elite there. I'd love to have you. All right, you guys, you have a wonderful, wonderful Monday. I will talk to you soon. All right, peace.